What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we got another Monday ramble. Um, it should be pretty good, pretty basic one. We always talk about things that possibly affect our mental health, or does affect our mental health, or things that we could do to help maybe possibly better it. But as always, you should always go in, get some help, especially if you're thinking about hurting yourself, hurting others, or anything of those natures, right? If they're, especially if it's somebody you like don't know, and you want to cause harm to them and then yourself. So get some help, some professional help. These things are, the things that I talk about most of the time, especially if it's in regards to what I had to do or what I've done to help myself out of that mental space. It's not going to work for everybody. It's not always going to work. Sometimes you need help to get through things. Not everybody can go over those hurdles by themselves, right? Not everybody's the same. Everybody's unique in some way. I'm not saying that you can't do it yourself. It's just that it's way more difficult too, in a way, because you got to try to figure it out yourself. What's eating at you and stuff like that, right? Sometimes it's very hard to identify these things that are causing your life to go in shambles. One, because you haven't identified them. Two, sometimes we do know what they are and we're just in denial, right? Three, it's because we have a deep attachment to possibly something or someone that continues, that we stay with, or anything like that, to continue to be who you're not really are, right? To be something that you're not. Sometimes that could be friendships. Sometimes that could be partnerships, marriage, whatever. I'm sure a lot of people that will hear this will have been in a relationship that has been toxic. That maybe even you're the toxic one. Maybe even you're the controlling one, or you've been controlled, stuff like that, right? So a lot of these things are just my own experiences with my own relationships with some people in my life, right? And a lot of these things that I talk about are just things I did, and I was lucky enough to, pull myself out of those. I did have a great support system, my family, my fiance, Jen. I love her very much. I love all my family, all my friends very, very much. And if you're going through something, which chances are it's probably in the high percentile, probably like almost 100%, I'm going to guess that you're going through some difficulties. I'm going to guess 100% because everybody has problems, right? And sometimes it could look dark. It could look dark and hopeless, and like nothing good could come from it. But you just got to keep your head up. You got to find the help that you need to help you succeed, I guess, right? Sometimes it takes much more than what we're capable of to face that monster. So, that's probably the easiest way I could put it. So, if you're having troubles, don't listen to me. Go out, look for some help, like a professional, and maybe they can help you out, right? I'm just some weirdo on the internet that that's been through some things, and I was lucky enough to come out on the other side, and still struggling to do my best, right, and be better than who I was yesterday. So that's all I want to say, and that goes for all my videos that I ever posted, that are original and not like reaction videos and stuff, because I'm just a goofball in those reaction videos. I just say stupid, really, really, really dumb stuff. So, but anyways. So this week's Monday Ramble is going to be more so toxic relationships, right? Toxic relationships. Sometimes they start out good, like they might love bomb you and things like that. It starts out good, like you feel great, you feel beautiful, you feel handsome, you feel whatever that person makes you feel, right? Incredible, great, one of the best relationships. Sometimes, you know, um, they'll start out like that. They'll it'll almost feel like a dream to some people, right? It'll feel like a dream that they're being cherished by somebody, like maybe they were in some other relationships where people just never, uh, you know, never seen them for who they were or who they thought they were and things like that. And this person comes almost seemingly out of nowhere, they they talk about how they always think about you or wanted to talk to you or whatever. However, the introduction happens. That's what happens, right? And then pretty soon your guys are going out. That person might be buying you things and things like that. They like to clean a lot or something. And slowly over time, as you guys get more and more comfortable, more you guys know one another a lot more, especially if you're younger and you're in like high school or something like that, right? And I've been in a situation like that, but you feel awesome, but one day it just starts. It seems like you can't even get their attention, right? You can't get their attention. Slowly the relationship becomes sour, more sour, but for whatever reason you try to stick it out because you remember some of these good times, some of these things that happen. They cherish me. They're just we're just going through something or whatever case may be, right? And pretty soon they're telling you what to do. They're not treating you like they were at first, or how they're not the same person that you thought they were when you guys first started. They don't help. They don't offer to help. They stuff like that. Give you cold shoulders, and only recognize when you truly are about to leave, or when things might go awry, because in some way, shape, or form that they still kind of need you. They need whatever it is that you have, right? It could stink, it sucks, and it takes a lot of life out of you. Sometimes when you're in those situations when somebody's there to take that energy from you, and stuff like that. It might not have been their objective at first, but at some point it became that, and you might become somebody that you never thought you might have become, right? You become more and more sour. You become more and more bitter. It's like when you grow. There's this old study that they showed about like how they were freezing water. Some scientists, and they talked about how they talked nice to the snowflakes, and the snowflakes when they froze, or the water they froze, and when they crystallized, they became like better. They were like some of the most beautiful crystals that they've ever seen, and then the ones that they talked to negatively, bad. They were misshapen. They wouldn't form the same as the ones that were talked to nice and called beautiful and all these other things, all these nice words that you could say to these things, right? And they become something that they're not normally, that would normally shape them into beautiful, water crystals, I guess you could say, frozen water, whatever. And humans are the same. Since we are mostly water, our atmosphere, our relationships, our friendships, the ones that we build shape who we are. And sometimes who we are when we met those other ones and things like that, we weren't forming in that same direction that we ended up in, right? It might alter who we are because, you care for people and you love them, and sometimes you're gonna take from them or take in some of their actions, a lot of their actions, right? And take that into your developmental process, right? It's the same. You see with kids, right? kids have, not, it doesn't always happen. There's some kids where, the parents are kind of turds. They are turds. They're not respectful. They don't care, whatever. And then the kid, through against all odds, they can become pretty good in ways, I guess. Not, even you can have a kid that's good and or a kid that's bad who has good parents too. You just, sometimes it's not the parents' fault. Sometimes it's not the kid's fault neither. They just become a product of their environment. They might go in and like, I don't want to listen to nobody, and I'm gonna become who I want to become, right? And that also ties into this too. Like we make these choices. We make these choices to follow those paths, and you made that bed and you got to sleep in it, essentially. And your choices are going to affect you whether you know it or not. And being around those situations where those relationships take a lot out of you, they drain you mentally, physically, and emotionally, all these things, all these different ways. And you don't have to put up with it, but you don't have to give up neither. You can try your best, but sometimes if they're not, or not sometimes, I keep saying that, but when these relationships, all they do is take and take from you, and they hurt you more and more, and you see that you're becoming the person that you're not, that you're, because you just want to be with that person who you fell in love with or something, and sometimes you got to know when to fold them and when to hold them, and if there's that person's no longer there that you've seen in the past, it's, you got to figure out whether you want to stay with them or not. Sometimes, I suppose we've all been a lot of people have been in a relationship where they are in that situation, right? And you're doing your best to hold on. If you do choose to hold on, you just keep holding on and trying to, what can I do to be better? What more can I do to make my favorite person in the world happy, right? Because they love me, and I know they love me, whatever. And, sometimes that's not good enough, not for them. Sometimes they're still tapping you out, but they might have other taps, other energy sources, Sometimes they'll come out and they might accuse you of cheating. They might accuse you of these other things. And sometimes it might be that they're cheating. So you better watch out. Sometimes they project, when they start to project on you and you're not doing these things. Those are some of the bigger signs to get out of there, right? But sometimes some people just don't care. I've been in a relationship where we didn't treat each other nicely, like found out like she wasn't treating me good and I wasn't treating her good neither. And sometimes you just want the truth. And that, I was a dumb kid, young man. And, if she would have just told me the truth, because I was telling her the truth because I was a big dipshit, but I was dumb and I was saying what I was doing. And then, I just had to hear from other people what she was doing. And, I was like, dude, just tell me the truth. I don't really care. You know what I mean? You mean so much to me. You know what I mean? To me, that's how I was at that time. And I cared for this person very much. I was willing to go through all that BS and keep going through the BS as long as I wasn't being lied to. And, I was, I guess, became a really big pushover in that regard, especially for that, I remember there was people telling me that, hey man, you gotta like force it, you gotta be whatever, but that doesn't work. You can't control anybody, right? Especially if they're adults. So what happened? Just had to let them go. You have to let them go, especially if you want things to be better for you. You're going through these hard times. Sometimes you might be crying. Sometimes you make them cry. Whatever. And you see those things, sometimes the best thing is to let go. It's not to keep holding on, And I'm sure there's, some relationships that endured those things and became better eventually. But how often does that happen? It doesn't always happen. Some people don't always see that. They don't cherish you the way that they should until it's already over with, till, you've been years disconnected, right? And sometimes they just never seen it, sometimes some people, they just move on to the next thing and they start taking from there. And, it sucks. And it sucks to be a part of those relationships. But guess what? You get out of there, you learn, and you become better. You become a better person. Sometimes it's very hard to get over because, like I said at the beginning, you grow a pretty big attachment to these people, to that person that you were with, because of some of these like love bombings, they call them, right? Love bombings, and a lot of these great times because, sure, you're in a bad relationship up at the end, but a lot of times they don't start that way. They start out very, very good, or what you perceive as good, and you'll miss those times, but that's going to be every relationship that you have any kind of good moments in. You're gonna make more memories. You're alive. As long as you're alive, you got to keep walking. It's life's tough, and it's going to be tough to get over. But the one thing you got to look forward to is that you're going to make more memories. You're going to create more memories going on, and maybe the next person is the one that's going to be treating you better. That doesn't take you for granted, or you don't take for granted. However it's going to go, that's how you got to look at it. You got to try to be a little bit optimistic, but it's not going to fall in your lap. You got to work at it. You got to do a bunch of other things that are unspoken. It's just like most people make it sound like, bam, right there, right? Not the case all the time. Not always the case. Some people might get lucky. Others don't, Sometimes it might be the person that you seem to disagree with, and sometimes it might not be. It might be the person that you see eye to eye with all the time or something, Who knows? The heart in this world is a crazy place. But anyways, again, I just wanted to re-say that, when you have these tough times and you're thinking about hurting yourself or others, please get some help. YouTube is not always going to help you in that regard. I don't know what anybody's doing or anything like that. I can't tell you what steps you should take to do that. I can only say the steps that helped me when I had to move on and I had to see things, right? It's not the best because when I was younger, I was doing a lot of drinking and a lot of, partying, doing dumb stuff and trying to cope with